What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about one of the biggest things I still want to see from Hogwarts Legacy, and that is dialogue. Depending on how this goes, I mean, this could be a very boring thing, or it could be a very exciting thing, but this has always been something that I've been pounding the drum. I've said this to Troy himself, when I've had him on the channel. I've said this to Expecto Go when he came on. We did the live stream. I was like, one of the biggest things truly would just be I want to see characters talk to each other, and so I want to talk about what I think that could be like and the different paths that the game could go. It's kind of my style, what I've done in the past for these videos. So, all right, for me, pretty much any game in the open world genre like Hogwarts Legacy is going to have some sort of wheel. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wheel per se, like a circle with all these branching dialogue, but it's going to have, the things that are going to progress the conversation with the NPC forward, and then it's also going to have, dialogue that expands lore, expands the characters, whatever, that you don't have to listen to, right? I mean, you go through literally any example you want. Probably one example I would use most recently, because it just happened, is Horizon Forbidden West. That's a big one, right? A big Sony one, just came out, and that one, is kind of known, in my opinion. Like, there is a lot of dialogue in that game, and some of it is very interesting. I think the second game is a lot more interesting than the first, but it can kind of get a little boring when you're just talking to characters, and you could be talking to them for like 5-10 minutes, and it just keeps on going. So I guess, a couple things I want to see from the dialogue of Hogwarts Legacy is kind of actually that blend. The first thing I'd wonder is how much of the conversations that you can have with characters, how much are that you need to have them, and you need to listen to them, again, to advance, whether it be the story, if it's a main quest, a side quest, whatever, how much of the dialogue is going to be there, okay? Then is that how much, I guess, lore or background info is any given character going to have, because some characters obviously are going to talk a lot, even if you don't have to listen to them, and then some characters are going to talk very little. Now, considering to me, okay, it's a very interesting world. I think a lot of us are into the wizarding world. This is a game that I think is more likely that people will listen to more of the conversations. That's the thing that's, in my opinion, hit or miss with a lot of open world games, right? You put a lot of dialogue in there, you have characters say a lot of words, and you can skip them. You don't even have to do it in the first place. I think this is going to be one of those kind of games that people really are going to go through every, not just dialogue choice, but every dialogue option that any individual character is going to have. Another thing I'd like to know is when you go into dialogue and you're going into, say, answering questions or deciding now, let's say, well, you're deciding your character. Well, how is that going to work? Okay. Now, games have, I think, over time gotten a little bit more, I would say maybe like 10, 15 years ago, when there were these games that had good and bad decisions. They would be blatantly good or blatantly bad. Now, I actually think there's something kind of special to games that do that. Infamous is one that's, jumps out immediately. Mass Effect is one that jumps out immediately. That you can tell, like, super good choice, super bad choice, and there's like a choice in the middle. Now, I think as time has gone on, games have gotten a little bit more open with that, and have almost like hidden it, where like you don't even know, if the good choice is the good choice. Like, it reads good to you, but maybe it's not the game's version of what a good choice would be. So I would like to, and again, like, why am I interested in dialogue? Well, I want to see something like that. I want to see, is it going to be written in like a red font, like that, so that is the bad option. And again, a game like this, it's going to be very important to decide what you're going to say. Probably not all the time, okay? To some characters, some side quest, stuff like that, it probably is not going to matter overwhelmingly what you say back. But for main quests, maybe even some side quest stuff, and of course, you can go into a whole tangent with that. Is there like a in-game bar that keeps track of like how good you've been and how bad you've been, and then it's gonna use that, right? How good are you at any given point, and that's going to apply itself to different things that happen throughout the game. Maybe, and again, though, that obviously I think would stem a lot from dialogue. There's possible, I guess there's a possibility that I've said before of like blatant choices. Like, you get approached with a choice in a main or side quest or whatever, where you can do, again, a blatantly good or a blatantly bad thing, just like up front, and whichever you choose, that's that's going to help steer your character in the future and as the game continues to go on, right? So to me, again, that's kind of how like a game functions. Now, of course, from like a character perspective, from a story perspective, I want to see dialogue, because I want to see what these quests are. I want to see how many characters you can actually talk talk to, right? That's kind of a big one. I mean, Hogwarts is going to be packed. There's going to be a lot of students, but the odds of you being able to talk to all of them are slim to none. In fact, I would say probably impossible that would be the case. But there's, I'm sure, going to be plenty of characters that you're actually going to be able to talk to and go through those, again, trees, those like dialogue trees. And that's something, again, that's kind of the main thing. So I want to see kind of how many characters there are to talk to in that way. I want to see how it's organized, like how it visually looks. Again, the lines of dialogue that you have to say to move the quest forward versus lines that you don't have to say, but they're like for lore purposes. I guess another thing that kind of ties into this that I thought of is, games, again, I would say games have gotten better at this, but honestly, I would say it's still kind of hit or miss. Characters saying things that you think they'd say based off of a choice. Now, that's a long thing that I just said, but what I basically mean there, right, is when you see a dialogue option and you click it, they can't give you the full 2 to 3 sentences your character, or even one, that your character is going to say based off that choice. There's a trust from us to the writing team that they can get through to us what your character is going to kind of say in just a few short words that they appear on the screen. And again, I struggle to say this has gotten better over time because I think it probably has, but there are still games out there where there are some choices that are wildly different than what, like, your character will say something wildly different than what it seems like they're going to say when you pick the dialogue choice. So that's another, and that's something that, they can explain to us all they want, but that's something that I really just want to, press play, go on a side quest, talk to like 3 different characters, get the quest, learn some lore, walk around the castle, collect whatever you need for the quest, and come back. Like, just a simple gameplay thing like that, I think would go a long way, because you can kind of see, all right, well, is there meaningless lore? So, well, again, to some, it'd probably not be meaningless, which includes myself. Again, though, you could bore people. You don't want to bore people, and you don't want to, dialogue with a character to take like 5-10 minutes if you can do it faster. People are quick nowadays, right? Right? You want to get in and you want to get out. So I'd like to see how much you can say to these people, how much is necessary versus, unnecessary, but still maybe interesting. I'd like to see how choices work, whether they're your choices that you don't even pick the word. Like, you can't even, there's not good or bad vocal options. It's literally just what you do in the game. Like, you have a choice to kill somebody or not to kill somebody, and that is what makes you good or bad. Is it that, or is it decisions you can make dialogue-wise, or is it a mixture of both? I hope it's a mixture of both. That would be, I would say, a lot more Mass Effect. I mean, Mass Effect would be the one I think that jumps out immediately. Right now, again, Mass Effect is very, the good choice. In fact, it's written in blue, and then the bad choice, it's written in red. And then there's like a middle choice if you just don't care, right? You're kind of in the middle. Like, it's very obvious. And again, I think there's something kind of special to that. I know a lot of people got pretty bored of that, pretty quickly. I wouldn't mind if it's that versus, or if it's something else. I think that's totally fine as well. And again, how many characters? I mean, there's a lot of things I want to see with dialogue. And again, I don't think it's all that difficult to give me in this way. Not to not to stroke my ego or think like I'm the most important, but like, this could give us a lot, just showing a gameplay where you go around, you do a quest, right? You talk to some people. I mean, you can get what I want from that, is you get to see the dialogue, and you can get a lot of other stuff from that as well. So I'm sure we'll see it. I'm sure there'll be some sort of gameplay segment as we get closer to the game where we will see what it's like when you actually walk up, press a button, and start talking to somebody. And I really am excited for whenever that day comes. I'm very excited because I've been asking for that for like a year plus. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, so you know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow or support me anywhere else, all my social media links are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.